So Playtime Co. had been very quiet. We haven't really had much since Chapter 2 released. That is, until today. Today we got the teaser trailer for Poppy Playtime Chapter 3, and while it's only a minute long, it is an incredibly interesting teaser, and I actually think it has some hidden details and clues in here that gives us some more information about what we can expect in Poppy Playtime Chapter 3. And as always, I am here to analyze it and bring you my predictions. So this teaser trailer starts by panning over 3 toys. We see Huggy Wuggy, Mommy Longlegs, and then we also see the head of Bron. Then we see this very creepy looking gas mask surrounded by all of these discarded toys, most of which are broken, and then we also have this voiceover, this dialogue from Elliot Ludwig, the CEO of Poppy Playtime, revealing Playcare, the orphanage center for Playtime Co. He explains that without children, Playtime Co. is nothing. Without them, they would not be able to conduct business. And then he also explains his aims of wanting to bring inspiration, joy, and smiles to children's faces. This is then met with applause, which is also very creepily cut in with the sounds of children screaming and crying. Now, not only is this, in my opinion, a much darker teaser trailer than we've ever had, it does have some little pieces of information that I want to talk about. The first one being, I think this teaser trailer has just confirmed that the main antagonist in Chapter 3 is going to be Bron. We see right at the beginning that the camera pans over Huggy Wuggy, Mommy Longlegs, and then the head of Bron. I think this is actually a hint. After all, Chapter 1's main antagonist was Huggy Wuggy, which we dispatched, then Chapter 2's main antagonist was Mommy Longlegs, which we also dispatched, and now we see Bron, which I think is a massive clue that we are going to see Bron as an alive character in Chapter 3. Chapter 2 actually built this up quite nicely. We did see some teasers of Bron, we saw this big Bron that didn't really move, and we also had this cardboard cutout that gave us some information about Bron, including the fact that he believes he is the scariest dinosaur, which I'm very interested to see. Now, the most obvious and interesting part of this teaser trailer is the gas mask. Now, this has so many different connotations. I have so many different ideas already about what this could mean. The most obvious thing is there was some sort of gas being used in this factory. Now, this gas mask is using the Playtime Co. colors, strongly hinting that somebody in this factory was using a gas mask, and you only generally need a gas mask if you're working around gas or some sort of hazardous material, which that showing up in Playcare where all the children were kept is very, very concerning. Now, I have a couple of different ideas about what this could mean. It could be that there were more than just one type of experiments going on in Playtime Co. We know that these scientists were doing horrific experiments that were illegal, unethical, and very dark. So there's nothing to say that they weren't doing other experiments too. I mean, the idea of Elliot Ludwig saying he wants to bring smiles to children's faces, well, who's to say they weren't experimenting on ways to force children to be happy? If toys don't work, maybe they have another way to make children happy, and maybe that way is including some sort of chemical or some sort of horrific thing like that. There is also the possibility that this is hinting that the Playtime Co. factory scientists did have plans in case something went wrong. We do have very strong evidence that these living dolls were made from orphans, and we also have some strong hints that these scientists weren't always in full control of them. They still retained some of their personality. Some were more obedient than others. Huggy Wuggy, for example, being described as being very obedient, whereas we know that 1006 was the opposite of that. So it's possible that this was part of a security measure. Perhaps they had some sort of toxic gas in case one of the experiments got loose, and well, perhaps they just didn't have time to utilize that, or maybe they did. Maybe this is going to go very, very dark, and maybe we're going to find out exactly what happened to the orphans in this area, and maybe their end was even darker than we first thought. The fact that we hear screaming in the background, the screaming children, is very reminiscent of Chapter 1 where we heard the screaming scientists or the screaming workers. I think we all knew that the children didn't make it. After all, no one seemed to make it out of this factory, so I think deep down we all knew that that was going to be the case, but I didn't know if the game was going to naturally confront it. It is quite a divisive topic, you know, children dying is quite a deep and dark topic, so I do think this is a hint that we are going to get some more information about exactly what happened to those children in the Playcare. After all, we did see that there were quite a lot of them in this factory when it was up and running, so they had to go somewhere, and I think we're going to find out exactly where they went in Chapter 3. Something else to note is that the voice of Elliot Ludwig in this trailer is different to the voice of this guy, who I originally assumed was Elliot Ludwig. So I think we can cross that off of our list. It seems like we haven't actually had a full reveal of Elliot yet. We didn't see his face in Chapter 2. It was all blacked out. And now we've heard his voice, which sounds like a new voice. I don't think we've heard this one before. So it seems like we haven't really had a full reveal of Elliot yet. And there has to be a reason for that. I think Mob Games is keeping Elliot under wraps for now, and maybe we'll get him in a future chapter. But it is very interesting that we hear him speak for the first time with this gas mask in the frame. Perhaps this was his gas mask, or perhaps he was the one that had the backup plan. I'm not entirely sure. He is definitely an important character though, as we even saw his name in Chapter 1 scrolled on the wall, which could be hinting that he's still alive. In fact, this gas mask even could be a hint that he's still alive. We even don't know how Experiment 1006 killed all the people, if that's exactly what happened. We know that everyone seems to be dead, but we don't know how. Perhaps this was the way. Perhaps Experiment 1006 or another experiment found the gas and used it on all the people. With this gas mask being intact, could be a hint that somebody is still alive though. Again, it's a long shot, we don't know. The idea that somebody could survive in this hellhole for 10 years, well, it's very unlikely, but stranger things have happened. So there we go, those are just my original thoughts and opinions on this teaser trailer. I'm sure we'll get way more information when we get the full trailer. And it seems like we still have quite a while to wait with the Chapter 3 being released in 2023, but that's not actually that far off if Chapter 3 is released in the early months of the year. So there we go, if you did enjoy the vid, let me know by giving the video a like, let me know down in the comments below what you think we're going to see in Chapter 3, and as always, if you want more theories, more things you might have missed and that style of content, don't forget to consider subscribing, as I make lots of different content on this channel. Not all Poppy Playtime, but quite a lot of Poppy Playtime, so if you're looking forward to that, don't forget to subscribe. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next time.